Thank you, dear viewers, for staying with us. With us now here in the studio is Engineer Dr. Mustafa Wali, and he is a member of the Cairo Syndicate of Engineers, the Energies Committee of that syndicate. And of course, he's also the former general manager of the Federation of Egyptian Industries and a member of the Egyptian European Business Council. Thank you very much, Dr. Wali, for joining us. Always a pleasure to have you with us.
Thanks to you too, and it's always a pleasure to be with you and the Nile TV, discussing and talking about the great things in our country.
Thank you, Engineer Wali. Dear viewers, let's watch now a report prepared by our own Abir Hussein and Rasha Abdel Hamid on our topic, and come back and start a discussion with our distinguished guest.
Egypt adopted action policies, plans and initiatives to achieve balance between economic growth rates and sustainability of natural and environmental resources. According to the Cabinet's Media Center, the country is carrying out several eco-friendly projects and using new state-of-the-art technologies in renewable and clean energy. The report included an infographic which highlights the state's efforts to expand the fulfillment of green projects to attain sustainable economic development. It noted that the world community is very interested in facing climate change crisis. Egypt seeks to implement more sustainable transport projects and promote investments and international partnerships in this regard. The report mentioned that the Egyptian state is reiterating its commitment to activating international pledges and deals to mitigate bad impacts of climate changes. The report added that efforts are also focusing on reaching a joint international vision and clear roadmap to address impacts of climate change and the repercussions on the most vulnerable countries worldwide. Egypt is on course to ensuring 100% of its national projects meet green criteria by 2030, and the COP27 host seeks to be a role model for other African countries. Minister of Environment Yasmin Fuad said ahead of the COP27 that 40% of the national budget that funds the national projects is for green projects, and they are increasing that every year. Through its Vision 2030 plan, Egypt set a goal of government-funded green projects reaching 50% by 2025 and 100% by 2030.
Thank you for staying with us, dear viewers, back here in the studio with member of the Cairo Syndicate of Engineers Energy Committee, Engineer Dr. Mustafa Wali. Dr. Wali, the Cabinet's Media Center published a report that included the infographic highlighting the state's trend towards green projects in order to, of course, preserve the environment and the health of citizens and attain development at the same time. What were the key highlights of the report? How did you see the key highlights of that report?
First of all, let me emphasize that this report or this infograph is really a very, very sophisticated and very brilliant job, because it put all the ideas, all the thoughts, all the projects, everything about these big issues in such fantastic and easy to understand form. We should actually address our regards for those behind this, and especially the people there. Because this is what we need right now. The job which was done in COP27 and the great success and the great achievement and the actual presence of Egypt as a pioneer in the Middle East and Africa for tackling all the issues in advance, too early actually when it compared to other countries around us, concerning this climate change and the consequences of the problems which will for sure happen if we don't tackle these problems in advance or in the right time. And I think most of, if not all, those who have been participants and those who are keen about this issue, I mean the climate change and the COP27 achievements, they were and they are and they were, I am sure, satisfied of what they have seen. And then it comes after that with this infograph and showing what was actually on the ground, what kind of plans we have in mind, and the importance that of raising the awareness of our community, I mean Egyptian community and Arab friends, Arab brothers and Africa, of what we have in mind and what we have in plan, so that we show that there are big projects in the pipeline. These projects will yield great results for the economy, for the environment, for even alleviating a lot of hassles, a lot of problems, chronic problems in Africa, especially Africa. And we can go like that, you know, but the most important thing, let's raise the awareness of what have been done and refer to these infographics and then extend it to especially to the universities, even to the public schools, secondary schools, and so on.
Beautiful. So, indeed, Engineer Wali, the report states that Egypt is the first country in the Middle East and North Africa region to issue government sovereign green bonds. Sovereign green bonds at a value of $750 million US dollars for a period of 5 years. And of course, the bonds aim to provide funding for environmentally friendly projects as well as encourage clean investments in the region. What I wanted to ask you about here, you being a member of the Energy Committee of the Cairo Syndicate of Engineers, is that the report indicated that it's very important to enhance the efficiency of our resources as well as reducing carbon emissions at the same time, as well as preventing the loss of biodiversity. So can you talk to us about the way forward? I mean, how can we do this, preserve or efficiently use our resources, cut in our emissions, while at the same time preserve also biodiversity?
Let me start with the efficiency of our resources. In this area, we are talking about energy. A very important concept for those who are dealing with the energy is the transfer energy from just raw form into a useful energy. The term useful energy is very essential, and that's what we are looking for, because we want to energy which will make the life feasible. I mean, we can achieve what we want by energy. The efficiency in this case will automatically first increase your productivity and your efficiency. You are efficient in using things to the maximum you can get out of it. So it reduces the cost, and then economically will be revealed in the bottom line or in the books. Meanwhile, when it comes to environment, it is actually reducing, because you are using to the best, and it is reducing the unwanted gas, or which are, you know,
waste, reducing waste.
I mean, in this case is what we call gas, which actually will yield, will lead into carbon oxide, carbon dioxide, and also maybe methane, and so on. That's actually the efficiency. If we get to sustainability, the other item we are talking about, how to maintain this, to get together we proceed with the clean energy, and that's what we are doing. We are building plants, whether solar plants, wind plants, and soon we will have, of course, the hydrogen plants. And this in itself will increase the volume and will increase the capacity of having or production of energy, useful energy, and clean energy. So to have these objectives together, it is synchronized. I mean, it can be done. It can be done. Only how to plan it and then monitor the implementation.
I mean, the report mentions that the green projects are divided according to their aim into several segments. One include the field of renewable energy, one the field of clean transportation, one in the field of water and sanitation, and one in the field of pollution reduction. That's according the investments are divided in that way. So could you talk to us, Dr. Wali, about each of those aims? I mean, increasing renewable energy, using clean transportation, the field of water and sanitation, and the field of pollution reduction.
Exactly. Let's start with the green energy, with the clean energy, renewable. Once you say renewable, then it should be green. I mean, then it is what we are looking for. The more you have, then the rest of the line will be okay. The more you have until you have it all, which is sometimes like to hope to reach this point. And then if you reach to those who are the most responsible about polluting the climate or the atmosphere, actually it's industry generally, but if we look at the daily life and in general, I mean on the public areas, it will be transportation. Because look, transportation is all fossil fuels, using even as gas, even when it is gas, which is less of course in pollution, but it's still fossil fuel. And of course, when you want have clean water, that's very important because you want something clean when people will handling it. You know, drinking water, it should be clean, I mean pure and all this. Energy always help in this, directly. So that's if you go to other activity, human activity, you know.
Yeah, the report mentioned the efforts that you mentioned earlier, the Binban solar project in the field of renewable energy. And in regard to transportation, it mentioned, of course, the electric train
project. Of course, yes. Yeah. We talked about this here, and
in one of our
this is great.
Here.
And look, when we will have the high-speed trains, you know, that at that time, actually, we will be the pioneer in whole Africa and maybe the Middle East when we have these lines, inshallah.
And there was a mention, of course, also as to the number of cars converted to run on natural gas.
Yeah.
I mean, is it significantly important and influential, the transformation from oil to natural gas?
Exactly. Simple as that. The source of the energy, in this case, we have gas, and then we have fossil fuel, I mean, which is diesel, and benzene, which we call benzene, diesel,
oil,
mazot, oil. That's the products of oil, crude oil anyway. By itself, gas is less in pollution because of, these are scientific things, but anyway, it's simple as that. The byproduct after burning, and then you have this carbon dioxide, it will be much less than what is produced or resulting from burning the fossil fuel. Fossil fuel. With the product of the fossil fuel. That's why. And actually, I was very impressed by the figures. It was 200,000 something cars. And then now they reach it
300,
double, 400. 400. It's doubled. It's something very, very fascinating, actually.
Indeed. So you advise citizens to take
for the
this
time
path?
being, yes. Until we will have this, of course, electric car, which is there are projects and there are thinking and you know real trials and on the ground here in Egypt that we should get into this business as any country in the world was starting with it. So at least let's have gas. Let's do our role as much as we can in reducing the emission, the worst emission, the
unwanted
carbon
dioxide emissions.
Yes.
Now, Egypt is expected, Dr. Weli, to launch its national low-carbon hydrogen strategy in cooperation with the European Bank for Reconstruction and Development by the end of the year. The low-carbon hydrogen strategy. What could you tell us about that?
Exactly. I don't know what do they mean by this, but when we talk hydrocarbon, that's actually the fuel. It's carbon and hydrogen. And,
Low carbon hydrogen, yes.
So in this case, they want to reduce again the carbon content. That's generally, because when you have carbon dioxide, then there is carbon, and it's coming from the fuel, the fossil fuel, especially fossil fuel. And also of gas, because gas is also the byproduct from the oil wells.
The Minister of Electricity said that Egypt is capable of producing green hydrogen at the lowest cost worldwide.
Yeah. Well, I hope, as I understand, and there is a lot of debates about this, when you say green hydrogen, then you must have everything green in this process. So to have a green hydrogen, it means that you will make what we call electrolysis of the water. You make it, divide it into the basic content, which is hydrogen and oxygen. This cannot be done except by electricity, generally to have electricity. And that's the most important thing, to have it separate as gas. Oxygen will be by itself, and then hydrogen. Hydrogen, of course, is the source again together with oxygen. When they get together, they will yield again into having energy. So the most important thing, to have green hydrogen, it means that you should analyze, get into analysis of the water, or which we call, as I told you now, this electrolysis, by, it needs energy. And this energy must be enough to have, because it's a process. It should be green energy. Yes, we can have this, because, for example, if we look at Bimban, this is 1.4 gigawatt, 1,400 megawatt power plant, solar power plant. Then it is green energy, pure energy, clean energy. If we can part of it and use it as electrolysis to get hydrogen, then this is green hydrogen. But also, you can have an electric run turbine by gas or by fuel, and then you have electricity, and then you analyze, you go to electrolyzing the water to have the oxygen and the hydrogen. But in this case, what you got from the beginning was not renewable, was not green energy. They call it green, they call it blue in this case. So that's very important.
Yeah, it is. It seems like a very ambitious plan.
Yeah.
Because again, Egypt's Minister of Electricity is saying that Egypt can produce green hydrogen at the lowest cost worldwide. Yeah. And he said that this can boost Egypt's GDP by 10 to 18 billion US dollars.
Yes.
That's by the year 2050, as the hydrogen economy is expected to increase sevenfold. That's the global hydrogen economy.
Because the demand for hydrogen is multiple, of course, including even, to get energy out of it again by having it to get to oxygen. But the most important thing, application of hydrogen is big, when it comes to industry, when it comes to chemical industries, for example, which needs hydrogen, and it needs hydrogen as hydrogen, pure gas. So the demand is there.
At COP27, it is to mention, Dr. Weli, that Egypt signed a framework agreement with 9 developers for a green hydrogen and derivatives mega project at the Suez Canal Economic Zone.
In Suez SE zones, yes.
Yes.
Exactly.
The green investments, again, in the current fiscal year that's 2022, 2023, according to the report, is 40% of the country's total public
that's
investments.
fantastic.
How do you see that?
That's great. I'm sure that I want to make sure, you know, it needs a lot in-depth details, you know.
Yeah.
The figure 40% in a fiscal budget, you know, to have 40% for renewable energy.
Yeah, for the green, the green investments in
because
general, yes.
Actually, sometimes
Most
when
of
you
it,
say
yeah,
renewable,
most of it is very attached to the renewable energy.
Exactly.
Because you said that even so if you mention the bulk of these investments are in transportation.
Yes, yes.
So
that's
attached to renewable energy.
I noticed they started that the biggest amount of money, it's even given in money.
In Egyptian, in pounds.
Egyptian
400
billions.
40% of...
it's 800 something.
40% of the public, 800 something is the total.
Yes.
But 40% is 410 billion Egyptian pounds, of which 259 billion are in the transportation,
exactly.
the clean transportation
exactly.
field.
Because that's very good, because it will you will sense it immediately. You will sense it immediately, especially, oh my God, if you look at the density of transportation during the day and on the peak times, and look at the exhaust gases coming out from the pipe, from the exhaust pipes in the whole automotives, with all whatever is the fuel they are working with, you know, whether it's diesel or kerosene, or kerosene, yes, or what we call benzene, benzene.
So 259 of the 410 billion Egyptian pounds that are allocated to green investments are going to clean transportation, 38 billion to sustainable sanitation services, and 25 billion to clean energy, according to the Cabinet's Media Center. Now, Dr. Waeli, over the past year alone, Egypt signed 16 memoranda of understandings, MOUs, on green ammonia and green production, and green hydrogen production, again in the Suez Canal economic zone.
Yes.
And the country obviously plans to be the hub for green hydrogen production in the region, and to be a leader globally. And again, the report is mentioning here the Benben solar park, which was one of the largest worldwide, with a production capacity of 1465 megawatt, 1,465 megawatts, or 1.465 gigawatts. So the clean transportation projects included the monorail lines, and the fast or the light rail transit. Some of them are in latter stages of
operation.
Operation,
Yes,
and others are.
The monorail, I think it's matter of few months. It could be 1 year maximum, according to the plan.
Yes.
And then we'll have it, you know.
Yes. So again, as you mentioned, there seems to be a comprehensive vision.
Yes.
There is a strategy that engulfs all of these investments together. So that's the vision for the achieving sustainable development through clean or green investments.
Of course.
Yes.
You see, it goes side by side. I mean, the cause and the effect in this case, you know. Imagine reducing the emission, the worst emission, you know, when it comes to pollution of the air, where the people, you know, in the rural areas or even in urban areas have to smell it, to inhale it, you know. Imagine And you see the problems, you know,
Yeah.
and it's all over the world now. Now, if you look at the statistics, enough that you can save at least the cost of medication and the cost and the downtime and all the
And preserve the
problems.
health of your
Yes,
citizens.
yes. And by the way, a lot of things in our life will be nourishing. You know why? Because there will be pure oxygen, you know, pure atmosphere to grow. For plants, for example, you know.
Yeah.
There are a lot of experiments which shows the difference between...
And that's very
Yes.
important to food security.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. That's why, you know, it's a cause and effect, you know.
Right.
That's it.
So, Dr. Wali, as we near the conclusion of our episode, I can't let you go without asking you about COP27, and you must have been a keen and close follower
Yes,
of the
yes.
events in the City of Peace
Yes.
in Sharm el-Sheikh. How did you see the overall organization of the event and the outcome of COP27 for the sake of the globe, not just Egypt or
Yes,
the region or
exactly,
Africa?
Exactly. Well, to put it in a nutshell, this was one of the biggest in number and in positions of the distinguished and people responsible for the fate of the Mother Earth, because they are taking care of their countries, they are rulers, they are making policies. All together had agreed that something must be done this time. And actually, I remember we were talking about this before that
Yes.
conference in here, and say, I even in one of my meetings, I was saying that I hope that COP27 will be, and the Sharm el-Sheikh will be mentioned in history, that it is the place where a real decision were taken and implemented. And I think we are in the process of implementation, because I will refer to one thing which shows over the many COP before, the USA never ever get into nearest the commitment that for the most important thing of which affected the third world countries and the poor countries, that's the loss and damage. At the end, there is acceptance, and they started to work on it, and officially the president of USA have mentioned that, okay, I mean, and then later on it was approved.
That's a breakthrough.
They are discussing. That is a breakthrough. To me, that's enough, that the responsibility, they accepted the responsibility. The only thing will be, and that's actually, it's known and discussed everywhere, who is deserving the loss and the damage, because if we give them a name as a country, as countries or nation, this is the developing country. China is still talking of itself as developing country. I leave it for this.
Okay. Thank you very much. Always a great pleasure to have you with us.
Thank you
Engineer
very
Dr.
much.
Mustafa
My
Wali.
pleasure too.
Thank you. Member of the Energy Committee of the Cairo Syndicate of Engineers, and also the former chairman, former general manager of the Federation of Egyptian Industries and member of the Egyptian European Business Council. Hope to see you again, Dr. Wali.
Thank you. It's always a pleasure.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you, dear viewers, for watching Business Insider. Next week, same time, a new episode. Until then, have all the best and goodbye.